Your hits will suddenly go through the roof once you see me on here.
Good afternoon and welcome back. We are here with a special guest today, my dad.
Good afternoon.
I've gotten in costume for today, but he hasn't, but you know, the grey hair will do. Today we are taste testing retro vintage chocolates. We are tasting the Grandad favourite Fry's chocolate cream, the Nestle Walnut Whip, which are a nightmare to get hold of nowadays, by the way. Lee's Macaroon Bar, very Scottish but still very retro. The Cadbury Picnic, which I have barely even seen before, let alone tasted. And the elusive Dairy Milk Tiffin Bar. So I think we'll start with the Fry's chocolate cream. So, I mean, it tells you how old it is, seeing as on the packet it says since 1761.
And that's actually older than me.
It's rich dark chocolate with a smooth fondant centre. How old were you when you first had one of these?
Oh, quite young. School days. Primary school, early secondary school, possibly. Primary school, I think. They used to have a bar, I think they called it 5 Centre back in the day. And for each segment that you get in the bar, I can't remember how many segments there are, if it's 6 or 7 or what it is.
7 segments.
7 set.
All of which say Fry.
They used to have one that had one that broke it down into raspberry and lime and strawberry and.
I thought it was mint. I didn't know they did lime.
No, it was each section that you see there.
Was a different flavour.
An individual flavour like orange, raspberry, lime, strawberry. 5 Centre, I think it was called. So clearly it had 5 centres. Yeah,
this one sadly only has 1 centre in each of its 7 pieces. But yes, thank you for the insider info. The middle is, as it said, a smooth fondant centre. I don't know if it's vanilla-y or just sugar. Is it like a cream egg? Ooh.
It's got a cream egg consistency. Possibly a bit thicker.
That's nicer than a cream egg.
Is it vanilla? I'm not sure what I'm getting. I think it's vanilla. Vanilla-y. Vanilla.
Just says flavourings.
Right.
So it could be vanilla. You taste a pretty dark chocolate, and then the inside is kind of like the inside of a cream egg, so this soft, vaguely vanilla flavoured fondant. But yeah, that is actually really nice. Thumbs up from both of us for the Fry's chocolate cream.
Yep.
These also come in mint flavour just now.
Do they? I don't know.
Mint and I think maybe orange, but
I've seen an orange one.
These are the sort of classic one that you can get everywhere. Second, I think we will move on to the Walnut Whip. So the only place I was able to find these in Aberdeen was in Poundland. We looked in a few supermarkets, couldn't find any, but we found them. Dad hates nuts, so I'm guessing he will pluck the nut off the top.
That's what I used to do.
So would you have had these in primary school?
I would have had them not very often, but I have tasted them in the past. The reason I was put off them generally is because of the walnut on the top. However, the obvious way around is just to take the walnut off the top. And Bob's your uncle, as they say.
Wasteful.
Yeah.
So,
give it to my dad, he ate it.
There you go, passing it on up the family. Anyone who remembers it or has had one will enjoy seeing that, but if not, it is a pretty weird looking thing. The box describes it as a milk chocolate whirl with a fondant centre. Again, just fondant. Is it the same as the Fry's or is it different?
It looks the same as it used to years ago. The walnut looks the same. The overall size of it, I would say, is probably slightly smaller.
Slightly smaller?
I think previously it seemed to have more of a...
More ridges
in it or more...
I think you can see the ridges.
Yeah, you can see them, but I don't think they're as... pronounced as they used to be.
Okay, so about the same, if not a bit smaller. I'm just going to have the walnut because Dad doesn't like them. So the inside, kind of like a tea cake. Milk chocolate all around the outside. Nice thick base on it. And this sort of whipped fondant-y centre. Is it like marshmallow?
Chocolate's quite thick on it in one part.
Oh, that's nice.
It is a bit like a tea cake, actually. That's a fairly good shout to describe it. Not a huge amount of taste. You can mainly just taste the chocolate.
Yeah.
Certainly that's what I think. Any taste that jumps out.
Yeah, it's almost like, if you're from the US, I would compare it to marshmallow fluff. But if you're in the UK and you've ever had a Tunnocks tea cake, it's very like that. The chocolate's really nice.
Yeah.
Very sweet, but as Dad said, you taste more chocolate than anything else, really.
And there's a nice thick chocolate base at the bottom of it there, but it's sort of thinner along the sides and along the top.
That's nicer than I expected.
I remember if the fondant was as squishy, for want of a better word, as it was there.
Yeah, it's very fluffy.
It probably was. I just can't remember exactly how thick or thin it was, but looks the same. Certainly the shape, the walnut, but like I said, the ridges are slightly different now. They seem to be a bit smoother.
Yeah.
And definitely overall, the size of it is smaller, I would say.
Yeah, I would say thumbs up to Walnut Whip. If you can get a hold of one, I would recommend trying one. Next up on our retro chocolate taste test, I think we're going to go a little closer to home and we're going to try the original Lee's macaroon. Not to be confused with the coconut macaroon made with condensed milk and coconut, or the French macaron, or the French president Macron, as Dad likes to. This is a fondant centre covered in chocolate flavoured coating, covered with roasted coconut and breadcrumbs.
Okay, didn't know about the breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
The rest of it looks familiar.
So it says it's 77% fondant, so basically it appears that the 1970s and before were all like just fondant with chocolate around it. Dad and I both like coconut, so I think this should be a winner. It might be very sweet though.
Something that never really found its way into my greasy palm.
It's a strange looking thing. It almost looks like a fish finger. Like
breakfast cereal bar.
It smells really coconutty, it smells really nice, but it looks like either a flapjack or a fish finger or something. There's crumbs going everywhere. The outside, as you can see, is just a very thin chocolate coating with breadcrumbs for some reason and toasted coconut, and the inside is just a fondant filling. We'll see how it is.
Big coconut hit. Very sweet.
Very sweet.
Very sweet. For me, the fondant doesn't have much of a taste.
Doesn't
It's
taste
just,
of anything.
You're aware of it. It's a lot firmer than the one that was in the Walnut Whip, clearly.
If you're in the US, I might compare the filling to a York peppermint patty, that sort of thick melting fondant, rather than the oozy fondant of a cream egg or anything like that. It is very sweet though.
It's very sweet and very coconutty as well, but you would expect it if it's rolled in coconut.
The only real flavour is coconut. Sickly sweet. I mean, a lot of Scottish things are. Tablet's very sickly sweet. Not as great as the others, but it's decent. I would say I would personally leave that behind in the 70s. I'll take the other two, but I'll leave that one behind. This one, Dad is a little sceptical about, because as I said, he doesn't like nuts. The Cadbury Picnic Bar. Crunchy, chewy, fruity feast covered in Cadbury chocolate. It's milk chocolate with caramel, peanut, crispy cereal, dried grapes. So raisins.
I think they're similar. Is it a Lion Bar? You get a Lion
Yeah.
Bar that's similar with all these ingredients, nuts and other bits and pieces. I think it's the only thing that I would say was anything
Very
remotely like it.
Very old school. Is this the kind of thing Grandad would have eaten?
He would have loved that. Father was big with nuts and chocolate. He used to love the Cadbury's whole nut bar. Generally, that was his.
Yeah, Cadbury's whole nuts still available, of course.
Yeah, that was his. That and the Snickers bar, as it's known these days.
Marathon bar
formerly
back in
known
the
as
day.
Marathon bar. Yes, he would have had a few of them in his day.
It's not the most appealing of presentations. It's a little bit like something you'd leave in the toilet. Okay, so the inside you can see there. I'll give you that one.
Thank you.
So there's loads of chunks of the crispy cereal, the raisins and the peanuts, and just kind of a thin layer of milk chocolate outside a caramel filling, which I think is going to be very chewy.
Not overly chewy. It's not runny.
No, it's not
but
as bad as I thought.
It's actually alright.
The peanuts, you can taste them, but it's not too strong. And the crispy rice cereal adds a nice kind of toasty flavour.
It's weird because you're tasting the peanut, yet you're getting the crispies.
There's a lot
It's a
going
bit
on.
Weird, yeah. For not a lover of nuts and chocolate, I would say that's pretty good. I think that would be quite filling as well. One of those, I think that.
Yeah,
would,
I was actually
that would-
thinking that.
That would do you. That would be a cup of tea or coffee in the morning. That would just hit the spot, I think.
Because we've only had a sort of small bit of it, but yeah, it's a pretty satisfying chocolate bar, I would say. Not firm, but it's got a nice kind of chew to it. The crispy rice is really nice in it. It helps it keep it light and not too sweet.
Taste in there.
Peanuts, the overriding flavour. I don't actually think I got any raisins in it, but I can imagine they wouldn't make it any worse. Yeah, definitely better than the old breadcrumb macaroon bar. So I would say thumbs up.
Yeah.
Even-
Was, for a non-nut.
Even for
fan
a-
in chocolate.
Even for a nut hater.
Yeah.
We have one product left to review on our retro chocolate taste test, and that is the Dairy Milk Tiffin Bar.
They were around in the 70s. I have consumed one or two of them in the past.
I've never seen one in my lifetime. I have heard that they're supposed to be coming back to the UK in sort of mass production. I bought this in a little sweet shop that stocks like American chocolate and stuff, so this I think will either be, it's from somewhere overseas. It could be Irish, it could be Australian. I'm not really sure. Let me know in the comments if you know. You'll know if you're from the UK. Tiffin's a sort of not a dessert, but a kind of sweet snack made from chocolate, crushed up biscuits, and raisins usually.
Yeah, raisins definitely. Yeah,
and it's usually served in sort of squares if it's homemade. So this is sort of Cadbury's ode to that, and I think we're both very excited for this one. That's kind of why I wanted to save it till last. It's milk chocolate with, again, dried grapes, raisins and biscuits. Only 10% raisins and 6% biscuit, which to me is a good thing because it's mostly chocolate.
More chocolate, yeah.
It's a nice little package, so we will take it out. I can see this being finished before we're finished filming. Immediate nostalgic Cadbury smell when you open it.
The classic purple wrapper.
Yeah. Nothing too intimidating or new when you look at the front there, just the usual sort of Cadbury swirly logo. But on the back you can see little pieces of raisins. You can see one sticking out there and all those little crispy pieces. So I will give you that one.
It looks exactly how I remember it from years ago.
Any smaller? Any thinner?
No, strangely enough, no. It looks as it did.
One of Dad's favourite hobbies is picking up old chocolate bars and telling us A, how much more expensive they are, and B, how much smaller they are than they used to be. We'll see how the Tiffin Bar is. Oh, holy shit.
This is nice as it used to be as well. Different to the dairy milk taste though, don't you think?
Yeah, I was thinking that, but is that because it's...
Maybe with everything else going on in it, I don't know.
So it might be different from the usual Cadbury taste, either because it's from overseas, like Ireland or Australia.
It's got a different taste. It's a lovely taste.
It's a lovely... Yeah, it's not a bad thing. It does taste a little bit different to the usual Dairy Milk bar, but yeah, lovely crunchy texture from the little crispy biscuit pieces, and the raisins add just kind of an extra deep sweetness to it.
Sweet, quite sweet. But very tasty.
I might be tempted to say that's Irish chocolate.
Is that the difference?
Because it's really creamy.
It's definitely a different taste from the normal, you know, Cadbury bar that you would buy.
Dairy Milk tends to be, I don't know why, but having been to Dublin myself and my parents having been there, we've got a bit of a thing about Dublin or Irish Dairy Milk or Cadbury chocolates tasting a bit creamier or tasting different. I could be wrong. This could be British or it could be Australian, it could be South African, who knows. Probably the best of the bunch.
Yeah, my favourite, yeah.
Just to recap, today in our retro chocolate taste test, or retro vintage, whatever you want to call it. Vintage might be offensive, seeing it was only the 70s. We tried the Fry's chocolate cream. The company's been around since 1761, so a very old school chocolate bar with a fondant filling.
Definitely older than me.
Yes. Nicer than I expected. Nice thick filling, nice dark chocolate. Would quite happily eat the rest of it. If you do remember the 5 center bar or any other Fry's chocolate cream bars, let us know in the comments. Get your mums and dads on the case because they'll remember. We tried the Nestle Walnut Whip, chocolate whip full of fondant and the little walnut on top. I really liked that, more than I thought I was going to. Similar to a tea cake or marshmallow fluff if you're in the US, with a nice thick chocolate around it and a nice little walnut on top for some of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, thumbs up again. We tried the Lee's macaroon bar. So yeah, it was a bit of an odd looking thing, kind of somewhere between a fish finger and a flapjack. Very, very sweet, though a nice coconut flavour if you're into coconut. Probably my least favourite of the bunch.
Yeah, mine as well, I would say.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing unpleasant, just I don't think I would have one again. We tasted the Cadbury Picnic Bar. A pleasant surprise for both of us, I think.
Yeah, the picnic bar's not something I would normally pick, if you pardon the pun, but
picnic.
yeah, it was actually, it tasted alright.
Pretty decent. So yeah, the usual sort of Cadbury's chocolate, though quite thin, so you don't taste it that much with everything else going on. Chewy caramel, little crunchy rice pieces and nuts and fruit. I'll be quite happy to take custody of that one. And a very satisfying bar, so if you were hungry, I think that would definitely do the job.
That would be the one to go for, yeah.
Finally, we tried the Dairy Milk Tiffin Bar. Supposedly it is coming back. Let me know if this is Irish, Australian, South African, or if you can get it in the US. I don't know where this particular import comes from, but it was very good.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Nice crunchy biscuits, nice chewy raisins. Yeah, I'm quite impressed.
Yeah, that was good.
We haven't loathed anything. Usually there's something that one of us at least won't like. That concludes our retro chocolate taste test.
Thank you for having
Thank
me
you
here
again
today. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it.
For Paul Maverick Father's appearance on today's video. If you enjoyed today's video, do hit the little red subscribe button below. Like and share if you want to throw back Thursday to some of your favourite retro granddad chocolates or dad chocolates. There will be a link to my blog Maverick Baking somewhere on screen just now, where you can find more reviews, recipes and little foodie articles. We're probably going to go and give Mum a taste of everything now and finish off the rest of this mess of crumbs and chocolate shards that we've made all over the couch. Thank you again for watching, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Look, I'm covered in chocolate, I can't move.